Oh, wait, is this recording? Hi YouTube. This is I, Makkro Man, the greatest Ornn that this planet has ever seen in world, universe, galaxy. I'm here to give you guys a guide about Ornn for Split 3 because this split had some massive changes around the runes and items. So I had to change the build path a lot, the runes a lot, and I just recently got Challenger. I got rank 4 earlier in the split, like overall in US. This was one of my easier runs for EU, honestly. I didn't have to put that much effort to climb. I didn't have to play 500 million games. I just played, a normal 200, 180, somewhat. A lot of them were on Cassandra. Cassandra's broken. I have 70% win on Cassandra, and I have 58% win on Ornn. I'm just saying, my champion might not be super overpowered. Probably should start playing Cassandra. Anyway, I'm gonna give you guys the overall changes. So what happened was, cookies got absolutely gutted, and they no longer give mana, they just give HP. So Inspiration Tree died along with cookies for Ornn. So I can go secondary magical footwear, and I can't go cookies because I will run into mana issues in lane. So my fix for that was I go Presence Mind and Legend Haste into melee matchups. And how Presence of Mind works is on an 8-second cooldown, you will get mana back instantly. So I will go Presence Mind into melee matchups, and the rune will be like Resolve primary, Presence Mind secondary. And for Resolve, you just go Demolish, Second Wind, Overgrowth every single game because it's disgustingly overpowered on tanks. And you're gonna go Legend Haste, Ability Haste, and then you're gonna go Presence Mind. So for range matchups, the main idea now will be, since Inspiration Tree is dead, you can't go Inspiration Tree with Spellbook, right? Inspiration first and then Resolve secondary because you have no mana. And mana is kind of a big deal for Ornn in lane and outside of lane. So the fix for that would just be you either go Comet or you go Summonary, depending on how well you can hit Comet. Into most mages, you can hit Comet super easily. And into ranged AD tops like Vayne, Smolder, Akshan, you go Summonary, and you go Overgrowth and Resolve secondary. Overgrowth Second Wind, because again, it's broken on tanks. Your tiny runes are still the same. You go Attack Speed, double HP scaling, or Ability Ace, double HP scaling. And Thornmail got its gold reduced to 2.4k, and it got a lot of armor, so it's probably the best armor item just for the stats. But Sunfire got killed, brutally murdered, taken out back in an alley, shot in the head. So it's not that broken anymore, which brought me to the heresy of going Hollow Radiance. I mean, because every item got nerfed, Kinecroaker got nerfed, Sunfire got nerfed, all the items that I used to go got nerfed. The power balance kind of became equal, so now Hollow Radiance is just as good as Sunfire, maybe a little bit better. And I've been going it more, but it just depends on the matchup. Like some matchups, they're full AD, you go Sunfire Bramble plated, and some matchups, you go Hollow Radiance because they deal magic damage. What I also found out was that Hollow Radiance is also really good into some AD champions that have mixed magic damage in their kit. So Jax, for example, deals a lot of magic damage, and your Hollow Radiance actually destroys him. I found into Yorick, Hollow Radiance is also very disgusting because it pops on his ghouls. So there are a lot of tiny niches where Hollow Radiance is actually better than Sunfire. I found it to Gnar as well for his W. Like, there are a bunch of matchups like that. If they have magic damage in their kit, you can go plated, Bammy, and like a Bramble. Also, Bramble got buffed. Its damage got doubled from 6 to 10. So it's a really broken component to sit on. And one other change they did was Bammy's Cinder. Its HP scaling completely removed. So you can no longer sit on it as a component. You can't component max anymore. So with all these changes combined, I kind of was forced to go Hollow Radiance first or Sunfire first. You can no longer sit on Bammy because there's no scaling on it. So the longer you sit on it, the more and more useless it's going to be. You have to finish, if you're fighting a melee matchup at least. Hell, even range matchups, if they're AP range matchups, just go Hollow Radiance always. But if they're AD ranged, then Thornmail first is still pretty good to go. But yeah, so you have to go Sunfire or Hollow Radiance. You have to. You can't sit on Bammy anymore. You cannot component max as hard. Last split, I was going Bammy Thornmail. I was still going Sunfire Bramble, depending on if Sunfire could deal more damage. But now Sunfire is... it's no longer overpowered. But the thing is, Bammy is super shit. So you still have to go Sunfire. Like, even if Sunfire feels bad, Bammy feels way worse because it doesn't have an HP scaling at all. So I found that there are mainly 3 build paths. So you're either gonna go plated steel caps, which got buffed. It went from, well, it got buffed. It got a nerf, but compared to every other boot, like Merc Treads, for example, got completely destroyed. It's 20 MR for 1300 gold, and you get tenacity. Like, I never build Mercury Treads. If you build Mercury Treads, you're trolling on a tank. Plated steel caps is 25 armor, and you reduce incoming damage from attacks by 12% for only 1200 gold. So that's pretty much the only boot you're gonna go. Unless they don't have auto attackers, I would still not go Merc Treads. You'd probably be better off going Swifties with a null magic mantle or Ionian boots with a null magic mantle. Because tenacity on Ornn, it's not really something that you need. Because if they're CCing the tank, then you're doing your job anyway, because you're supposed to eat all the damage, all the CC. That means that your team is allowed to do their job. The main thing is you just want to be able to tank the whole enemy team. So Bramble Vest is a disgustingly good component to sit on, because it deals a lot of damage for the gold that you're spending. And Bammy you can no longer sit on. So your build paths now are going to be Plated Sunfire Bramble, Canik, into Heartsteel. Heartsteel you can build whenever you have enough resistances, and the only way to get tankier after that is to just bolster your HP so you can make your resistances more gold efficient. Obviously, if you don't need that much more, you don't need to go a full Canik second item. You can go like a Negatron Cloak, and then you can go Heartsteel second. That's fine as well. And as for your upgrades are just situational. They're all good. They just give different stats depending on how many stats are split. So Sunfire, for example, will give you 300 gold of HP, 300 gold of armor, 300 gold of ability haste. Heartsteel will just give you like 1000 gold. I mean, it's 333, but you know, easier to say, whatever. Heartsteel upgrade will give you 400 HP, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna build what I want for the upgrade. I'm still building what I need just for the enemies. I'm upgrading whatever I can. Some games, I'm just permanently upgrading Sunfire or Hollow Radiance just because I can't afford the other stuff that fast by the time I'm level 13. Except one, and that's Thornmail. Because Thornmail is so cheap. If you really need armor after your Hollow Radiance, so that would be the second build path, you'd go Hollow Radiance for your laner, you'd go next Null Magic Mantle, because 40 MR is not enough. 60 MR is doable until later on in the game. You go Hollow Radiance, Plated, and then Thornmail, and then you'd put your Thornmail in first slot, and you'd upgrade Thornmail, and it goes all the way to 100 armor. They did nerf Thornmail a lot, so for now, if you want to build it, you're only going to be building it for the armor. If you don't need that much armor, you can go, instead of Thornmail, you can go Unending Despair. So if they have 2 AD, 3 AP comms, you can go Hollow Radiance into Unending Despair into Canik. Or you can go Plated Hollow Radiance Thornmail into Canik, and then your fourth item is going to be either Heartsteel or Yaksha. It depends if you just need more armor, or if the armor you already have is enough. Usually the armor from Thornmail and Unending Despair are going to be enough, along with the Plated Steel Caps, because Plated Steel Caps is so disgustingly good right now, it's usually enough. So you can greed the Heartsteel. But Makkro, isn't going Heartsteel so late in the game bad? Well, the thing is about Heartsteel, you're just building it for the stats and for the damage. You're not really building it for the scaling. The scaling is great, but it's not the main thing that I'm concerned about when I'm thinking of buying it. I'm just thinking, how can I get tankier in the most efficient way possible? By the time I reach that spot in the game, most people will have armor pen, but if they have armor pen and percentage HP damage, I'll probably opt into the Yaksha, but usually Heartsteel is fine to go when you have enough resistances. You can get a feel of, will I be tankier here if I just build raw HP, or will I be tankier here if I build way less HP and a little bit of armor from the Yaksha build path, which also changed. It's now a Giant Belt and Chain Vest and Negatron Cloak instead of Ruby Crystal, so that's really huge, because Giant Belt and HP usually later in the game is way better component to sit on, because people at that point in the game are gonna have Magic Pen, Armor Shred, MR Shred, so the armor and the MR that you'll be building will just be deleted, right? And your third build path is gonna be If you're fighting like a range champ, you're gonna go Plated, Thornmail, and then you're gonna go Hollow Radiance, Gainic, and after that, you can go Heartsteel or Yaksha, again, depending if you need armor or not. You can also go Randuins if they have a lot of crit, but usually your build paths are gonna be centered around these items. It's gonna be Hollow Radiance, Thornmail, Unending Despair, Gainic, Sunfire, Heartsteel, Yaksha, Plated. Plated is pretty much 99% of the games. I built Swifties like twice. Out of 200 games, you don't really need to worry about other boots. Plated is just disgustingly broken. For the gold that you're spending, it's way better than its counterpart, Mercury Treads. Like, Jesus Christ, I need to sell my kidney to buy Mercury Treads, and it doesn't even do shit. When you buy the Tenacity, like, what am I buying? I really don't understand. What's the point of that boot? The only champions that Mercury Treads is good on right now is a Drain Tank, like Aatrox maybe, that relies on being able to cast spells to live, or like Darius. But if you're a tank, you being CC'd or not doesn't really matter, because it's not like you have a spell that can make you tankier. For Ornn, for example, whether he's standing still or auto attacking, he's still gonna have the same amount of tankiness. So I would rather just tank it all, get CC'd for 10 seconds and live, because since everything got nerfed, tanks got nerfed the least. So Ornn, I think, became a little bit stronger. He's not overpowered. Santa is overpowered. Ornn now is like, eh. He was doing really shit during Split 2 and Split 1. He was not doing that great. Now he's in a balanced spot. His win rate is like flat 50%. So he's not strong. He can be really strong in the right spots, but he's not like overpowered. So yeah, Hollow Radiance is now a staple. It's probably the best MR item in the game. Because Gainic as well got nerfed. It got its stats reduced from the shield from 18% total HP to 15%. So early game, you're not going to have that much health. So the shield is going to be a little smaller. I found that Hollow Radiance with Null Magic Mantle is a lot more impactful. And you just go Gainic, third item. If you're going Hollow Radiance, you cannot sit on Hollow Radiance for long. So you go MR item, Hollow Radiance, armor item, Thornmail or Unending Despair, along with Plated, obviously. And then your third item will be Gainic, and then you're gonna be the tankiest tank that ever tanked in the tank of tanks. But you can also upgrade Hollow Radiance, you can upgrade Thornmail and Despair, you just upgrade what stat you need. There's no best upgrade. It's all the same, it just depends what stat you want the most. Like, if you're gonna die from MR faster than you're gonna die from having more armor, then you upgrade MR. If you're gonna die faster from physical damage, then you upgrade the physical damage item. If you just have one, well then you just upgrade the one item. Womp womp. So yeah, that's probably gonna be the build, and the runes again are just gonna be Grasp, Presence Mind, and I tried Mana Flow, but the reason why I didn't like Mana Flow secondary with Grasp, I was fighting a lot of melee matchups and I noticed I did not have as much kill pressure early game, because the thing with Ornn is the mana was solved by cookies, because it's level 1 through level 6, and Ornn's mana level 1 through level 6 is the worst. So that's the part you want to fix the most. The mana after level 6, level 7, level 9, and so on, it's not bad. It's just the early game mana that's bad. So Mana Flow doesn't really solve that. So that's why I went Presence Mind. And for range matchups, you know, you obviously go Sorcery first, so you're going to take Mana Flow there, so you don't need another mana rune. 1 is fine. 2 is overkill, unless you're playing Skarner top, then you need 2. He runs out of mana pretty fast. But yeah, so if you're fighting like 80 range tops, which I've been seeing a lot less because Riot nerfed the fuck out of 80 carries. Plated Steel Caps as well and Bramble are disgustingly broken now. So if you build Plated Bramble into any AD top, they will not deal any damage to you, and you'll probably one-shot them with Summonary and Bramble, and Plated, you won't take damage, they'll just die. And if you're fighting a mage, you just go Comet, and you go Mana Flow Band, and Hollow Radiance, and you just poke them to death with W. LxVer, cut this part out. Non è po filmoj video. Okay, back to video. Okay, so the combos are probably gonna be, you know, the same shit, triple brittle, whatever. Like, the rest of the gameplay remains the same, it's just the items that changed. Yaksha is probably the 4th, 5th item that you're gonna be building the most. And I think finishing Thornmail is probably a waste unless you just want the armor and you want the upgrade. Because having Bramble and Chain Vest, you already have everything that you want out of Thornmail. Like, if you really want more armor, you finish it and you upgrade it. but I don't like finishing most of the games. Like, it'll be the last item I finish. Like, usually I'll be sitting on Bramble, so I'll have Sunfire, I'll have Bramble, I'll have Kanik, I'll have Heartsteel. Then, will I finish? No, I'll go Yaksha, and I'll build Thornmail last item. Like, if I really do not care, I don't care too much about the Thornmail passive, I just care about the stats. Because Thornmail used to be really disgustingly broken, that's why I built it. It dealt so much damage, but right nerfed the armor ratio so much that it's just not worth to build for the damage. You're just building it for the stats, and that's fine. Because the stats are really good and it's super cheap. It's a Frozen Heart, but it gives health, and you don't upgrade your ability haste. Like, if you upgrade Frozen Heart, you only get armor and ability haste, but if you upgrade Thornmail, you get 500 gold of HP and 500 gold of armor, so that's a way better upgrade, way tankier. So yeah, that'll probably be it for the items and runes. The rest of the gameplay didn't really change. Like, if you want the gameplay, you can just watch my VODs, but once you get used to Presence Mind, you'll probably be fine. Like, you just have to keep track of the cooldown on the bottom right of your spells, because it's 8 seconds. You can proc it with Bramble as well, or you can just proc it with auto attacks, so you don't need to spend mana to poke to get the mana back. You can just proc it really easily. You just auto attack, bop them, get your mana back. But yeah, cookies are dead, Mercury Treads is dead, Kanik Rush into most mages is dead, Sunfire is a lot weaker, Heartsteel has 2 giant belts though, so that's pretty good. Yaksho has a giant belt, that's pretty good. Bramble Vest got buffed, that's pretty good. Bammy Cinder got gutted, that was bad. I no longer go Bammy Cinder as a first component anymore as well. I go Bramble first usually. Like, the matchups where I would go Bammy first would be matchups where like Bramble wouldn't do anything, any other component wouldn't do anything. So like resident sleeper matchups. So yeah, Bramble is now the better component, and Warden's Mail I never build. So yeah, that'll probably be it for the items and the runes. I got a pretty good feel of the items like really early on in the split, just because I got better at building items in my head. Sunfire is not OP anymore, but that doesn't mean it's a bad item. It's still fine. It's still fine to build, because it's just armor, HP, build haste. It's overall, it's fine. Like, if you find Darius or Olaf or Renekton or whatever, or Riven, you're still gonna be going Sunfire, Bramble. Also, probably Bramble Vest, do not look at it as a Grievous Wounds item. It's just straight up armor damage item. For 800 gold, it is disgustingly good. But do not upgrade Thornmail unless you have Hollow Radiance and you want Thornmail upgrade, alright? Do not finish Thornmail. Just buy the